Coach Mack and the Red Raiders have been preparing for weeks. Hello and welcome. I'm Darby Sells.
And I'm Zach Salzgiver. It's the team's first chance to take the field since last season's 69-20 win over the Mercyhurst Lakers. The Raiders finished off last season 8-3, just missing out on the state game. Ship finished off the season strong, winning 6 of the last 7 games, sparked by the return of Cortland Dell with key wins over PSAC rivals Westchester and Mercyhurst.
Last year's team was loaded with seniors who made a big impact on the Raiders' win streak, and now the Raiders are without longtime starters on both sides of the ball.
The biggest hit was on offense, losing 5 starting skilled position players, including Sheldon Mayer and Andrew Smith. Mayer was named All-American as a returner and finished his Ship career in both top 5 in receptions and receiving yards. He was the clear #1 target for Zapatiki last season. Smith was the Raiders' #1 back last year. His absence will be easier to mask with Justin Pyle returning and Cole Chipielli transferring in from Penn State. Smith's greatest contribution was his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. The team returns 9 out of 11 starters on defense, but the 2 key losses were senior captains Cortland Dell and Kurt Walker. Leave a leadership gap for the Raiders defense. The biggest hole to fill is in the receiving corps, but Mike Brown is doing his best to fill the void.
Who's having a very, very good spring. You talk about a young man who has stepped up and really has embraced the role of being the leader of that group. He's doing a great job. Eric Kearns, who's a transfer, has a ton of ability. He's catching on to our offense, and look for big things out of him.
With the loss of their skilled position players, the Raiders will rely heavily on the right arm of Ryan Zapatiki. Matt Kleindens has more.
The Red Raiders are getting ready for the 2016 football season with big expectations for quarterback Ryan Zapatiki to build on his phenomenal sophomore season.
Well, Zap did a great job. He improved as the year went on. It was his first year of starting. And he stayed relatively healthy last year, which was good. He has progressed well. He has a good command of our offense, and, he makes plays.
Last year's stats agree with Coach Mack. As a first-time starter, Zapatiki threw for 27 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. He had a completion percentage rate of 59.7% and had 2,345 passing yards. But Zapatiki knows one man can't post such success alone.
I mean, I thought I had a decent sophomore season, but a lot of it goes to my teammates, receivers, offensive line, running backs, picking up blocking assignments, blitzes, everything.
Still, there's room for improvements.
I think completion percentage is a big thing. Just knowing when to check the ball down, when to take your shots. That's a big part of the game that goes unlooked.
Coach Mack is having Zapatiki focus on his footwork, having a quicker release, and making good reads, all with the purpose of improving his consistency. For SCTV Sports, I'm Matt Kleindens.
Zapatiki looks to improve on a season where he threw 27 touchdowns for over 2,300 yards.
Not only Zap, but every player on our team has the ability to improve, and Zap has been improving. He's had a great spring practice, and he's at the quarterback position. You're going to continue to get more comfortable, get better as you go, be able to make your reads a little bit quicker, just more time in the driver's seat, and he's doing a great job at it.
When we come back, one Penn State transfer looks to resurrect his football career.
And find out why Coach Mack is so confident in this year's defense.
Oh, you got it. Since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Go on. No.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
With losses across the board, the offense looks to transition to a power run game behind their veteran offensive line. The Ship offensive line will be vital in the upcoming season, returning starters across the entire front. The Raiders will focus more on the power run game with losses at wide receiver and 2 excellent power backs.
Well, if you think about it, last year, man, I think we were second or third in the conference in rushing the ball. So that's part of what we are. A lot of people think of us as just throwing the ball all the time, but we're a balanced offense. I love to run the ball. I love to be able to dictate the pace of the game to a defense, and if you can run the ball, you're going to win games.
The Red Raiders hope a switch of jerseys for Cole Chipielli will mean big successes for the team. Karan Kent has more on the story about the Penn State transfer.
It's gone very well. It's a big difference coming from such a big school to a small Division II school. But I love it. Biggest difference, is definitely the class sizes. I'm coming from 300 plus kids in my classes, and now I'm down to 20. So that's definitely a big difference. And obviously, football-wise, it's obviously a big change.
Chipielli, who's from Beaver Falls, PA, attended Penn State at the high school for 2 years. During the end of his sophomore campaign at Penn State, Chipielli sustained a serious knee injury, which not only made him miss time at Penn State, but he also sat out last season in Ship because his knee wasn't fully healed.
Sitting out last year was tough. I played football since I was 7 years old. Every fall I played. I never sat out. So this year was definitely tough for me. But I'm excited. It made me a better person, and I'm excited for the season.
Sometimes turmoil in an athlete life helps greatness prevail.
A tough process, but for me, it was definitely a blessing in disguise. It definitely got me to realize that, football, you're one play away from being done. And, that really what came into my thinking when I wanted to leave Penn State, because, one play, I could never play it again, so I wanted to come here and, get my full potential out and play football.
I'm Karan Ken with SUTV News Sports.
Chipielli will split carries with Justin Pyle in a revamped backfield that will look to carry the Raiders. Coach Mack believes Chipielli is ready to make major contributions this fall.
This is the first time he's played football in a year, so he's had a very, very good spring, catching on to what we do offensively and our techniques and things like that. He runs the ball very hard. He's gotten better every practice during the spring, and it's really fun to watch. And he can outrun people, and he can run over people. So it's going to be exciting to watch him.
Coming off injury and going into his 3rd season as a starting cornerback, Kevin Taylor has high hopes for what the defense can accomplish. Taylor will join Chad Miller, Chavez Cheatham, and DJ Berkey in a defensive backfield stocked with experience. Taylor predicts the Raiders will have the best defense in the PSAC, and a veteran back end will play a big role.
Important, and in the secondary, you got to make sure that you have trust between each other, that knowing what you're going to do and what you're supposed to do, because if you make a mistake in the secondary, everybody knows you made that mistake. So, those guys gelling well together. They've been together for a while. We got to continue to get better, and I think they're playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. None of them were selected as all-conference last season, so that's something that I don't let them forget about, and they're working very hard at it.
Big Red is a beloved and iconic member of the Shippensburg community, but not everyone knows the origins of the Raider mascot. Jameson Barker has more. Okay. Both of you. Make sure you look for Big Red roaming the stands at all home Ship football games.
When we come back, Richard Nace looks to improve on a record-breaking season.
And Zach sits down with Coach Mack.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, you know, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's gonna happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
The biggest hole in the Raiders' defense is up the middle at linebacker. With the departure of Cortland Dell, the Raiders are searching for a new face to anchor their defense.
Dell was a big part of our defense, and an example was when he did play against Westchester. He had probably the biggest play of the game, intercepting that ball in the end zone. So it's not easy to replace Court, but what we got to do is we got to make sure that the guys that are coming up behind him, you know, Alan Holman, who played a lot of Mike linebacker last year when Court was out, he's going to be in the middle, and he's a very good player, has had another good spring. So we got some younger guys who are stepping up. You know, we just got to make sure that we're consistent at the linebacker spot, that you know, we continue to get better every practice.
Holloman was second on the team with 70 tackles last year.
As a freshman, Richard Nace set the single-season record for sacks, including a monster game against Millersville with 3.5 sacks. And the coach says he is only going to get better.
I think he's already improved his game just from this spring. I'm going to tell you, he's had a tremendous spring. And if you talk about a young man who goes hard every play, you watch Richard Nace. That's what he does. That's his motor. That's what he, you know, the thing that he can get better at, of course, is just the fine details of the position as far as the technique and things like that, learning it a little better, making sure he takes care of his responsibilities. But he's got a motor. And when you find young men who have a motor every play, they're going to be successful.
This game is an important stepping stone going into the season, an opportunity to evaluate the roster. It's also an important time to have fun.
Going into the spring game, you ask them what they want to see. They just want no injuries for the most part. Come out healthy, you know, see what your guys can do. What do you want to see in the spring game?
I want to see them compete. You know, I want to see them have fun. You know, we've worked very hard this spring, and they've done a tremendous job of getting better and just doing what they're supposed to do. And Saturday's their payday. You know, it's spring game. Go out there and compete, have fun, and you know, enjoy the experience. That's why we try to make it as game day atmosphere as we can.
You spent a lot of time around this team leading up to this game. What's the mood surrounding the team?
They're confident. They have a swagger to them. They think that they're the best team in the PSAC. They think that they're, you know, with their schedule so far, they think they're going to be able to just run through this conference. And they have a really good team coming back. I think the biggest thing is they're kind of on a mission. With that loss last year to Kutztown, they believe they should have been in that state game, so they really want to, you know, get after it this year.
This offense has to replace a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. What do you expect from this year?
Well, yeah, there's a big hole that Sheldon Mayer left behind. He was their best receiver, one of the best receivers in Shippensburg history. But Ryan Zapaticki and his progression from last year is really going to help fill that void. I mean, the kid threw for 27 touchdowns and over 2,300 yards in his first season as a starter. Only look for him to improve on those numbers. And as far as wide receivers go, they have a lot of depth at that position behind Sheldon Mayer last year. And I think Mike Brown's going to be the guy that's going to come in and really fill that void. At 6'3", you know, he's fast. He can really get down the field and push corners. I think that he's going to be able to fill that void, and this offense is going to be just fine, especially with a great running game.
The defense returns 9 out of the 11 starters. What is this defense's ceiling?
This defense can easily be the best in the PSAC. They return so many guys, especially on the back end. They return all 4 defensive backs. Their whole entire defensive line, other than Kurt Walker and Cortland Dell, everybody's back. Cortland Dell is going to be the big one to watch for me anyways, because he was such an important part of their defense last year. And when he came back against Westchester, they were able, you know, they just took off and were creating turnovers at a higher rate. But if Holloman can come in and fill in for him, this defense, you know, sky's the limits, and they're going to dominate teams this year.
How far can this team go this year?
This team, I think they can win every game on their schedule, realistically, and, you know, make it all the way. I think this is, you know, make it to the actual Division II playoffs. Sky's the limits for this team.
That's it for us in Grove Hall. Let's send it now to a Student Association field at Seth Grove Stadium. I'm Darby Sells.
And I'm Zach Salzgiver. Enjoy the game.